What's up, everybody? It's KJ52. Thank you for tuning in. This is episode number 3 of 52 Academy. So thank you for tuning in and being part of what God is doing here. Continue to check it out, myspace.com, or you can check it out on YouTube. We're starting looking at Matthew chapter 13, and it's talking about Jesus and why he used stories to tell and to share what he had to say. Starting in Matthew chapter 13, going into verse 10, it says, Jesus' disciples came to him and they asked him, "Why do you use nothing but stories when you speak to the people?" Jesus answered, "I have explained the secrets about the kingdom of heaven to you, but not to others. Everyone who has something will be given more, but the people who don't have anything will lose even what the little they have. I use stories when I speak because when they look, they can't see. When they listen, they can't hear or understand. So God's promise came true, just as the prophet Isaiah has said. These people will listen and listen, but they'll never understand. They will look and look, but never see. All of them have stubborn minds. Their ears are stopped up, and their eyes are covered. They cannot see or hear or understand. If they could, they would turn to me, and I would heal them." This is the last verse, kind of what I want to focus on. It says, "But God has blessed you because your eyes can see and your ears can hear. Many prophets and good people were eager to see what you see and to hear what you hear, but I tell you they didn't see or hear." Now, what is kind of Jesus breaking down here? The disciples come to him and they say, "Look, why do you talk in stories all the time? You know what I mean? Can't you just give it to us straight? Can't you stop being so, for lack of a better term, stop being so entertaining?" Now, a lot of people, when they think about music and how it applies to ministry, meaning the songs that you write, we say, well, music is one thing and ministry is a different thing. And yet we fail to realize sometimes that Jesus himself used entertainment to reach people. Okay? Now, his disciples come, they say, "Why do you use nothing but stories when you speak to people?" Every time Jesus got up to speak, he told a story. He didn't stop and go, God says this, God says that. Now, there was definitely times where he did that. But if he had to make a point, if he had to get something across, he just started with a story. And sometimes he didn't even explain the story. He just threw the story out there, and he used it to get their attention. Why did he do that? Because he was dealing with a group of people. Some of them didn't know how to read. Most of them were farmers. And really, the only way for them to kind of get something is to tell a story. Now, the Pharisees of his day, they would basically do one of two things. They would just kind of get up there and say, God said this, God said that. In fact, most of the time, they would use so much technical stuff, and they would put it down on people to the point where the people couldn't even function their lives. Meaning, God said, don't work on Sunday. Take a day off, rest, get deeper with me. The Pharisees would turn that into, if you have a piece of dirt under your fingernail and you dig it out, that's considered digging, and digging is work, and so you've just sinned against God. This was the actual truth. I'm not making this up. They actually believe that. They believe that a woman should not look in a mirror on Sunday because if she sees a gray hair, she may be tempted to pluck it out, and if she plucks it out, that's considered work, and she broke the Sabbath. Now, this is what they're teaching the people. The people are going, man, I can't do nothing right. All you're telling me is what I'm doing wrong. And instead, here comes Jesus. He comes along, and he breaks it down, and he says, you know what? All you know about is farming? Let me tell you a story about a farmer. All you know about is bread? Let me tell you a story about bread. All you know about is wheat? Let me tell you a story about wheat. In other words, everything they knew, he broke it down in a way that they could understand it and they could relate to it. And I say this with the idea, us as writers, we are storytellers. Us MCs, we are storytellers. What are we telling? That doesn't even mean that you have to write a story. You're still telling a story about something. Meaning, every time you get up to write a verse, or to say something, or to break it down, or tell your testimony, or talk about some issue, you're telling a story about that issue. You're breaking down that story. Now, when people say, well, entertainment is not godly, and being entertained, we're not entertainers, we're ministers. No, the two go hand in hand. Entertainment has the ability to minister. You see what I'm getting at? Meaning, what I'm trying to say is, if you really want to reach people, you better learn how to tell your story as good as you can tell it. You know what I'm saying? When Jesus spoke, he knew all they knew about was farming. That's all he knew. He knew that that's where their heads were at. He didn't get up there and start talking about politics or the weather or this, that, and the third. He broke it down in a way that they know. If you're trying to effectively write, if you're trying to effectively minister, find out what the people that are listening, where they're at. and tell them a story that impacts their life. It goes on to say, it says, I have explained the secrets about the kingdom of heaven to you, but not to others. Everyone who has something will be given more, but the people who don't have anything will lose even what the little they have. He goes, I use stories when I speak to them, because when they look, they can't see, and when they listen, they can't hear. Jesus knew that most of the people that he was trying to talk to, they don't care, they don't want to listen, they just simply want to be entertained. And a lot of us, when it comes to our music and when it comes to scriptural music, we just want to be entertained. We get caught up in the lights. We get caught up in the glam. We get caught up in all these things, and we miss the deeper point. And that's what I'm saying. You guys have to be careful that when you write your songs or you present what you present, that you don't let them get caught up in the image of it all. Does that make sense? Most of this music is about image. Most of the most of the industry is about image. And people can see the image and not forget and not see what's behind the image. And so really that's kind of where I want to leave you guys. When Jesus broke it down, he said, why do you use nothing but stories when you speak to people? He says, guys, I've got something to tell these people about the kingdom of God. This book right here, yeah, it's the Bible, it's our instructions, but it's a book about a kingdom. It's a book about a kingdom and a king trying to set up his kingdom. It's a kingdom book. And God has given you the same example, the same challenge to go out and explain what's in here. So when you do it, make sure you know what they're talking about. Make sure they understand what you're talking about. Break it down. Let them know. Cool? Cool.